Okay. Happy Monday. And should be a great day. Last day that I'm in town, I think, until Friday or so, when we'll go back, we'll get back at it on the practice field. Have a team meeting today. Talk a little bit about the bowl. And then they'll lift, they'll run all week. And then we'll get practicing going Friday, Saturday, lift and run next week, and then start the bowl prep game practices December 15th. So that'll be the plan. That's what we'll do. We'll spend 2 weeks preparing for the bowl. Obviously, Alamo Bowl is a great spot. Texas played Washington last year in it, and now Texas plays Washington in the CFP. So wouldn't that be cool if that was a precursor to you go to the Alamo Bowl, and then the next year you go to the CFP? So wouldn't that be something special? So I think it's great. Clearly, there'll be 12 teams next year, but Oklahoma certainly very deserving. A 10-2 team, outstanding job by Coach Venables. I think he also improved by 4 games in the win total from a year ago, and he's done a great job everywhere he's been. Clearly, one of the best defensive coaches in the country. And our team's excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a great day in San Antonio. We'll spend about 4 or 5 days there, really be able to experience what a bowl game is like, the way bowl games are supposed to be done, which is be able to get there early, be able to experience practice at the bowl site, and then be ready to roll. So that'll be our plan. We should have a great December. The kids will be able to go home after the bowl game, not before. So they'll be with us all the way through December 29th.
We'll start with Justin and then Michael. What do you think about the matchup between your defense and their offense?
Well, I think their offense has a little bit of a change to it now. So we'll have to see what that ends up looking like. I would say that their top 5 offense, total offense, number 6 in passing offense. I think they're averaging 300 and something yards passing, similar to us. I think they're pretty similar to us offensively, statistically. And I believe that it'll be a great challenge for our defense. Now, obviously, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like now. I don't know if there is a quarterback change or not for them. But as we all know, that's an important part of the offense. And they do have a different coordinator, so that's unique. Coach Trell used to be here at one point with Coach Stoops. And I know Seth, and I think he's a great coach. So we'll have to see what he does, if he does anything different than what Coach Levy was doing. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But we won't know. So we're going to have to prepare for a good, potent offensive attack. We're going to have to watch a lot of tape on what happened at North Texas and also what happened at Oklahoma this year, and see what we can put together to figure out the best way to defend them.
Michael and then Jason.
You mentioned Washington. They kind of had their breakout season last year, to a higher level this year. Is there anything that you can take from the way that they put their team together, the way they approached the offseason, et cetera, that you can kind of maybe apply to the course of the game?
I think that their situation is different than ours to begin with. Michael Penix played for Kalen DeBoer at Indiana. Then Coach DeBoer was at Fresno for 2 years, and then went to become the head coach of Washington, and Michael Penix went to go play for him. So I don't think I think when you look at their offense, they were pretty offense driven, and they managed to have their quarterback for 2 years. And as I've been saying over and over, that position, as the CFP committee decided as well, that position is the most important position. And you have to be able to have consistency at that position. You have to teach an offense to a guy, and they benefited from, they got everybody to come back. That's what happened. So assuming everybody comes back, then I would think that we too will have a great opportunity when teams try to poach your players, when teams try to take your players, when teams try to convince players to leave programs to go to another program. You got to be able to not allow that to happen. That's what Washington was able to do. And I think that's a key part of sustainability and building a program.
Jason and David.
Two questions. Do you believe in bowl momentum, like if you win the Alamo Bowl, it carries on to the next season?
I think that there's momentum in playing in a game because you have 15 practices that you wouldn't have had the last, we if you look at us versus, let's call it Utah, since 2017, they've had 90 practices more than we've had. And when you look at that, well, what does that mean? I mean, 90 practices is like, well, training camp's only 28 practices. So you're talking about 3 more training camps than we had to be able to compete. So, and that's, of course, we've had coaching changes along the way there as well. So I think where the momentum comes from is really just getting better. And the team is around each other more. The team believes in each other more. They're closer together. And sure, when you're playing December 28th on ESPN, recruits are going to notice it, and they're going to see how you play the game. The way we play the game, people should want to come here. We play the game in a manner that people should say, I want to go play at Arizona, and I really don't care about the rest. And the reason why is because we can develop guys to become NFL players. We've shown that we can do that. We will do that. We'll have a ton of players that will be in the NFL next year and years beyond that. And we're watched by NFL GMs. We're watched by NFL head coaches. Most coaches in this league can tell you how Arizona did every Saturday. I don't think that a lot of other programs can say that. And that's why I think that the bowl momentum will be nice. I heard from a lot of NFL head coaches yesterday congratulating us on going to the Alamo Bowl and the importance of that game. And that's the momentum we need.
Then also, as a head coach, what is today the like for you in the portal?
Yeah, I think that in regards to players that have gone into the portal from other programs, there's certainly been some people that I've had to evaluate and make decisions on. You have to make very fast decisions. In recruiting, you can make long decisions. You might know them when they're a sophomore in high school, a freshman in high school, a junior in high school. Here now you have a decision that you need to make if you want to use one of your spots on a guy that you evaluated for 7 minutes. And things are very, very different in that regard. Then you have to start trying to do research. But while you're doing research, another team's trying to get them. So it's a much more challenging deal for a head coach. And then, maybe there's a couple meetings here or there. I haven't had any with our own roster. I did not have to do that, but a year ago we did. But, there's always going to be people that are trying to take your players. So you've got to avoid that. And you've got to make sure that these players understand their value to this program. And as I told our guys, if our whole team stays together and that recruiting class of 2022 and that transfer class of 2022, if you start adding that group together, when you start adding Tanner McLaughlin, Jacob Cowling, Jaden DeLora, Noah Fafita, T-Mac, Kevin Green, Price Sock, Takario, Manu, Kean, and you just go down the list of guys that were in part of that class of 22, there should be an ESPN 30 for 30 done about them in 10 years. And that which should be, if we all stay together, and the amount of games that I think they can win this year and next will be the story of college football.
David and then Matt.
Jedd, along those lines, what are you looking for? You mentioned 7 minutes. What are you looking for in that 7 minutes?
Yeah, when you look at a guy, when you look at the portal, and the first thing you have to do is, if someone's bringing them to me, it's that they have a prior relationship. If we don't know anything about them, I'm not interested. We just can't do it. So now it's a matter of, all right, well, let's turn on his film, let's look at his production, let's see how, let's find out his background regarding how many years does he have left. Is he coming in as a grad transfer? Is he coming in as a one-time transfer, undergraduate transfer? Are there any things that we need to know? And then we turn the film on and we watch the film and we see, okay, where does this person fit in? And then I ask our position coaches and our recruiting department to inform me on where do you see this player playing on our team? Are we bringing him in to add depth? Are we bringing him in to start? And to pass the start test with me is a very hard test to start. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, we're bringing in Jaden Delora a year ago to start. I get that. And then it was, we're bringing in T-Mac to start. Hey, we're bringing in, Jacob Manu to compete. He became a starter. We're bringing in, you start going through it, right? Jacob Cowing to start out of the portal. So it's really a matter of how you're going to work it, how you're going to phrase it, and then try to figure out exactly. We don't really have a lot of starting spots open, and that will be a very tough one to crack.
In terms of being coached, that happened to you last year. Is that a preemptive strike on your side? Did you go to guys you think other teams might be interested in talking to and try to get that on the front side, or are you waiting until whatever happens and they come to you and then you try to pick that after that?
Yeah, I would say that the last year group was very different than this group. And then I would say that we all learned from a year ago and what the results are and what that looks like. I would say if a guy, usually they don't come to you, usually they come tell you. But I don't envision that with the team that we have. And I've challenged all of our players. Ask all the guys that have transferred in here. What do they like about here versus what do they like about their other places they've been? And where would they choose to go if they could do it all over again? And then research all the guys that aren't here and that have made decisions for wrong reasons. Now, there's a lot of people that transfer because of the fact that it's the right thing to do for that person. Hey, I don't think I can be a starter here. I don't think I can be in the set too deep, and I want to go play football. And if that's the case, that's why a lot of people transfer. There's the few that everybody likes to talk about that make decisions for financial sake. And in that case, is that really a wise decision? I can tell you that if we are only making decisions based on money, there'd be a lot of different scenarios that are occurring out here. There's a lot more that has to go into it than just money. And I think that is really the key.
So Matt and then Damian in the back.
A couple for you. You touched on it a little bit in your answer to Jason's question, but the veteran guys, the guys that have played a lot of football here, they're coming to these full practices. What do they gain from those few days of really getting back to fundamentals? The first time really since fall camp, because they're not on a game week practice, as you mentioned, the final 2 weeks full practice.
Yeah. So guys like a Jacob Cowing, a Mike Wiley, Tanner McLaughlin, all of those players, those guys gain. It's a refresher course in route running. It's a refresher course in run blocking. It's a refresher course in the really ball security drills. It's all the things that go into becoming a really good football player. I mean, the old famous blocking, tackling, catching, right? And, that there is part of that you do in these bowl practices that you haven't done in a while. And our job is to continue to find a way to get them better. And I believe everybody can get better between today and the bowl game. Everybody on our football team should get better. You have 15 practices to get better. You have 24 days to get stronger. You have what will end up being 12 lifts to get bigger. You should be able to do that during this time. And we should have our best football team on December 28th.
It's so good about bringing in alumni of the program, guys that have played at bowl games for the University of Arizona. Will a lot of those guys be here over the next month? And I guess what kind of message are you looking for from those alumni that have been so involved in your program that they'll be back here and kind of enjoying this next month again?
Yeah, I don't know how many people will be back for that, for bowl prep. I think a lot of people are excited that we're going to a bowl. But I would say that the biggest thing with bowl prep is you could take it one of two ways. The team that wins the bowl game or the team that takes it more serious. The teams there's two ways to prepare for a bowl game. You could choose it as a celebration of the season, or you could choose it as a championship game. Those are the two options. And we're going to choose it as a championship game. Now, if it's a celebration of the season, then it's easy to, slack off a little bit or not think that curfew matters or not, or just enjoy the bowl experience. I think the goal is to win. So that's the message that I've given. We don't need the alumni to give that, but they certainly can too.
Damian and then Michael.
You mentioned knowing Seth Luttrell for Seth back in college coaching, like, or having your paths cross, and how will you?
I met him at Pebble Beach at a golf outing, and 2 years in a row. And it was nice to spend some time with him and his wife and Amber. And we enjoyed our time together. It's the Dick Tomey Golf Classic that is running over Memorial Day weekend. And there's about 36 college head coaches, either active or retired, that are at it. And Coach Neuheisel and Coach Patterson have taken it over, but it was the idea of Coach Tomey. And Coach Luttrell has been at it the last few years. And that's when I got to meet him. And really enjoyed talking to him and enjoyed spending time with him.
Who has a better golf game?
I don't know. We never played together. But I would guess most of the time the answer would be the other person.
Lastly, Michael.
I think this is the first time that you have to deal with prepping for a game while also deal with the transfer portal and closing down the recruiting class with the early signing period. Right? I don't think either of those were in place when you were last in college. So what is it like to have to handle all of that? And would you suggest any changes to the calendar that might make it easier so that there isn't this log jam?
Yeah, I would say this, Michael, that it's certainly unique. It's a unique time in college football to balance it all out. Like we had our end of year banquet yesterday, and then yet you have the transfer portal opening today, and then yet we have all of our coaches out on the road at home visits. Tomorrow I'll be in home visit in one state, then the next day in another state, then the next day in another state. And yet you're still trying to monitor what's happening back here. I've got Oklahoma film on in my computer because, I don't just recruit and be Mr. Positive. I also have to call an offense and run the offense. And to do that, that takes a lot of work. So there's been a lot of different things that are happening at the same time. There has to be a better way to regulate the roster from the NCAA perspective. And what that means, I don't know. I mean, I've always said maybe a salary cap would be a great thing to have. So your roster isn't dealt with in a piecemeal and you just have a better idea on how to do it. Maybe it's a better way of having an early signing period. Maybe you can just sign at any time as long, and that commitment has to stay firm unless there's a coaching change. Maybe there's a way to just figure out a way that you can open the transfer portal up after bowl games, not before. So let the CFP finish and then open up the portal. Especially if I was coaching a team, if you're coaching a team like us that are playing first bowl game since 2017, and that's a big deal. And the last thing you want to do is start losing players in the portal, and you're asking donors and you're asking alumni to come support the game, and they're like, who am I supporting? So it would be a nice thing if they said, hey, your team is your team. And when the football season comes to an end, that is the day of the national championship game. That is when the season comes to an end. At that point, you can enter the portal. And if you have to do an early signing period, then maybe you could say, we're going to use some time in December. But how fair is that to the guys that are playing a bowl game December 16th? They're trying to prep for a bowl game, and now you're saying at the last second, you got to try to also sign your players. At least we have an 8-day runway between the signing day and the bowl game. So I think a lot has to change. It's not where it needs to be by any means.
All right, that's our time.
Okay.